Santa's watching, Santa's creeping. Now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been bad.
Hey there guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at the Survival Review, and continuing our Christmas reviews, we are going to be talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2.
Oh yeah.
An absolute gem of a film.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie. I'd seen clips from this movie. I'm sure a lot of you have. It's one specific scene has become a meme. But,
yeah.
This movie, it's just awful.
It is.
But in so many great ways. In some ways that are just awful.
Yeah.
But in some ways that are just so entertaining.
Whereas the first Silent Night, Deadly Night is just a great 80s slasher movie. This is a little different than that. This is not a great 80s slasher movie, but it's great for many other reasons.
Yes.
Because the plot of this movie takes place on Christmas Eve, for no legit reason, but it does. And we follow Ricky, the brother of Billy, the killer from the first film, and he's in this mental hospital, and a psychiatrist has come in just to talk to him because, you know, he did some stuff that will get revealed later on in the movie. And so we start out with the one problem, major problem with this film.
Yes.
Is that if you've seen the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, you've seen the first 40 minutes of this movie.
It is so blatantly cheap and padded with flashbacks to the original film. It's not even just flashbacks.
No.
It is a cut down version of the first film.
It's the original film cut to 40 minutes and shown in the beginning.
With some occasional cuts back to Ricky and him narrating over it.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense whatsoever because it's just from the start of it, he's talking like he remembers his parents being murdered.
His first
he was a toddler.
It was Christmas Eve. I was just a baby and Billy was only 7.
And then you go from that to a bunch of scenes where he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Some where no one he knew was there.
No.
So he couldn't have known any of these events took place.
And they didn't even like film like extra little bits with like a young Ricky like watching what's going on or something just to kind of connect it. It's nothing. It's just scenes from the first movie.
Yeah, weird stuff like when the police went to a house where it was a red herring and there was no... Why would he know that?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's so stupid.
And it's just like, you know, like, well, I guess let's flash forward a few years to like you're in the orphanage. Like he's like, you know, I was okay in there, but Billy.
But Billy wasn't.
It was rough on both of us. And Christmas time was always the worst. It didn't exactly bring out the best in Billy.
And then just cuts the stuff about Billy, and it's like, what? Why?
It's really stupid.
And then since the structure of the version of the movie goes, you see him as a kid, and then it cuts to 10 years later, and he's 18. So literally, the psychiatrist has to say, well, let's flash forward a few years.
Let's jump ahead. Let's.
It's really cheap feeling, which is why I recommend that if you watch this movie immediately after the first film, just fast forward to like 38 to 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
You'll be good. Trust me. You've seen it all. There's maybe a couple funny lines from...
Yeah, there's
Ricky
a few funny lines in there. But it's also interesting from like an editing standpoint.
Yeah.
Because a lot of scenes like move like a lot faster.
Way faster.
And in some ways they actually fix some of the editing kind of problems with the first movie.
One of the major flaws in the scene with the girl at the pool table and all that was... It was edited in a way where it's like the guy in the basement is completely deaf because he doesn't hear any of the stuff happening with him murdering the girl. But they edited it in a way in this version to where it made sense.
Exactly.
He hears it like kind of quickly and he heads up.
What are you doing?
Actually somehow improved it a little bit.
Or even then they made it go faster, the scene with the bullies.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the lines are kind of trimmed down, so there's no line where the bully's like, take it back.
Yeah.
That's cut out, but we still get the laugh.
We do still get the laugh.
The one positive thing about all this stock footage.
Yes.
But then there's like weird editing choices, like it's all the original cast. But then when it comes to like the couple like having sex in the orphanage, it's a different cast. Like they had to reshoot that.
For some reason.
And it's like, why? If you're allowed to show all this other footage of all these other people.
It's really bizarre. I mean, from the start of the movie, he had already seen both films.
Yeah.
I hadn't. We just watched them.
Yeah.
And it starts off, and I see them doing like the first scene of the first movie. And I'm like, oh, they're going to play the whole first scene of the first movie? And he's like,
yeah.
Yeah. And then it kept going, and I'm like, no. it just kind of dawns on you after a little bit. You're like, no, they can't do this, but they do.
The thing, though, that kind of works about those little scenes in between with Ricky in the mental hospital is the fact that Eric Freeman is the actor playing Ricky.
Yes.
And oh my god, he's incredible.
He is so brilliantly awful.
Yeah.
It's a work of art, his performance in this movie.
Yeah, he's trying so hard.
His eyebrows alone deserve an Oscar.
Yes.
You're good, Doc. But I know all the moves.
And like every scene, like the camera like lingers on him like the director thinks he's great.
Yeah.
Like there's scenes where it cuts the close-ups of his eyes, and like scenes where it's just his face in the shot, like that's all it is. The director was just banking on him, like it being like this great part of the movie.
And Eric Freeman, he's getting into it.
God.
He is trying so damn hard.
There's so many great like lines in that bit, and like the stuff in the mental hospital, where like the doctor writes down in big letters, "Red car."
Red car. Good point.
It's so fucking funny, man.
It moves past the first movie, and you see like that Ricky ends up getting adopted by this family, and then the family was just like, oh, this kid's freaking crazy. And then like those people die, and then he's on his own as a teenager. Eric Freeman is 18 in this movie, and you see him having a job. It's a whole scene where he asks the psychiatrist, like, do you ever have any kids? He's like, oh, no, we couldn't have them. He's like, oh, couldn't? So they have a wife. When'd you meet? Oh, in college? Oh, this is not important. College? I had to get a job. I'm like, what was the whole point of that dialogue? Just a segue into him saying he got a job?
It's a really convoluted way to segue into that.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
And the best part is, you see him at his job.
Yes.
And you see him in the alleyway throwing out garbage, and you see this like loan shark basically beating up this guy. And the actor who plays the loan shark looks like could be like this like mobster kind of guy.
Hey, come here, Booger, what are you doing? But he's not.
No. Oh my god, he hams them. He's like, I want to be more over the top than Eric Freeman.
Yes.
You won't live until Monday.
Oh! It's gonna happen.
Hey, you know what?
What?
Oh! You said it best. He's like a cartoon.
Yes, he is like a cartoon character.
So he beats up that one guy who owes him money, and Ricky sees this and sees that he has to be punished.
Yes, he needs to be punished because he's being naughty.
And he beats him up, and then stabs him with an umbrella.
Yep.
And then opens up the umbrella.
Naughty.
And then after that, it rains.
Yeah. It's so funny.
And then you see another scene. Well, this scene actually takes place before that with like a younger Ricky.
Yeah.
And they see this couple just like out in the field together, and they start making out, and of course, because everybody in both these movies are complete assholes and are horrible human beings.
Yes.
That's like the main thing to take away from these two movies, that everybody's horrible. And of course, he starts taking things a bit too far, and she doesn't want to, and he's just like all mad at her. So he goes to get his beer from the car, because I guess he finished up the beer.
He had to go get his car beer. He was out of picnic beer, he needed the car beer.
So Ricky runs him over with the car.
Yes. Not just once, he keeps reversing, going over and over.
Yes.
And the girl comes over. And so, compare it to the first movie, when Billy kills the Joe Pesci character. Yeah. The girl's like, you're crazy, what the fuck did you do? Blah, 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 blah. And this, she's just like, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And then walks away.
Thank you.
It's like, what?
What?
He just murdered your boyfriend. What is going on? It's delightful.
Also, this movie, whereas the first one like relishes the Christmas feel, this movie's not.
It's not even a Christmas movie until like the last act.
I mean, technically the first 40 minutes are, because it just plays the first movie.
Yeah.
But even after that, like all these flashbacks to Ricky take place in the summer, so it's like bright and sunny.
There's even lines where it's like, oh man, I've got all summer off, or things like that.
There's nothing Christmas until the last act of the movie, which we'll get to that in a second. Because then you get to the other stuff, like in Ricky's flashbacks, where he falls in love with this girl. And then there's a scene at the movies.
Oh god, I forgot about the movie theater scene.
The movie theater scene is such a highlight.
Yes.
First off, it doesn't look like a movie theater. It looks like just a small like screening room in a studio.
Yep.
All the lights are on. Clearly you can tell like when they scripted this scene that they envisioned like a packed theater and kind of darkly lit, dimly lit to look like, you know, actual movies playing on the screen.
Yeah, but all they could afford were 2 cheap middle-aged extras.
Yeah. So not only is just the setting of this, it looks ridiculous. And you have Ricky and his girlfriend are watching the movie and got this annoying guy in the back.
Yeah, just this obnoxious dude.
Go! Start the movie!
Who's trying to be funny. And
Yeah. And, of course, Ricky keeps looking back at him dramatically.
giving him the devil eyes.
The Eric Freeman serious face.
The Eric Freeman serious face, which is the same as every other Eric Freeman face.
Yeah. And then he goes back there to deal with it. And as that happens, the girlfriend's ex-boyfriend comes in,
yes.
who is complete cliche douchey 80s boyfriend with like blonde hair and stuff like that. And he's just like trying to be silly and kind of quirky. And so they have a little argument together. But this whole scene is just, it's just so awkwardly like done. Like everybody's kind of whispering a little bit, but they're talking loud enough to where people would hear them.
Yeah.
Especially the middle-aged couple sitting like a row behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's just stupid. And also the fact that the movie playing is literally just Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, because the scene in the original movie where the guy just the Santa holds up the convenience store, they didn't show that in the flashbacks earlier on. So when they cut to the movie on screen, which is a movie about a killer Santa.
Oh, it's great. It's about this guy who dresses up like Santa Claus and kills people.
What?
It just cuts the footage from the first movie.
And it's just like, what?
It's like, what? It's so confusing.
It's really stupid.
And so weird, but I love that scene though. It's
oh yeah, I love it too.
And then after that, you see Ricky and his girlfriend walking on the streets.
Yes.
And this is the iconic.
This is the scene that everyone should know.
Yeah, and of course they come across the douchey ex-boyfriend.
Who's in a red car. Fixing his red car.
Yeah, that's the thing,
note.
red. Red is an indicator in this movie.
Yeah, he's like a bull.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas Billy in the first one was just crazy and just Santa got him going. This one, it's red.
Yeah, anything that's the color red will set him off. And make him
there's a scene where he's a kid and he's walking around with his foster mom, and these nuns start walking out, and the music is amazing.
Yeah.
And then like they look over and there's like a red sheet in the window. And he's like, ah!
And the mother looks at it and she's like, oh god.
Oh god.
Like she should know why red? Like what the fuck?
What? So anyway, the douchey ex-boyfriend is in the red car. And of course he starts like saying shit about him, and Ricky just goes off and just murders him.
Yep.
In a most ridiculous way.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, the girlfriend's like, oh my god, you're crazy. And then he kills her. And then he starts...
He's just off on a rampage.
Yes. A cop walks up to him with a gun.
Oh, yeah.
Ron Howard approaches him.
Yeah.
And he's just, you know, like, don't move. I know how to use this. So Ricky, he just takes the gun, pushes it backwards, and shoots the place in the head.
Yep. Like, flips it around in 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, and just...
the stupidest thing.
So now he's going around, Ricky, just shooting random people.
Yeah.
And in concept, this is a very terrifying like scene. Like him just walking around a suburban street, just shooting random people. It's pretty screwed up, pretty terrifying.
But the way that it's executed is the funniest thing.
It's one of the funniest scenes ever put to film. Because
it's so fucking...
Because you see this one guy taking out his garbage.
Yes. He picks up the trash bin and he gives that iconic line.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
His laugh is the thing that seals the deal.
Yeah, this whole scene, it feels like this scene had two directors. One director saying, hey, play it maniacal and like over the top, and the other director saying, play it like reserved and serious. Because he literally in the same shot goes from going, ha 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 ha, to...
Yeah.
And also he can't do a convincing laugh to save his life.
Oh yeah.
So every time he laughs, it is the funniest thing ever.
And that was what led to him being in a psychiatrist's office or whatever. And after that scene, we finally get to the Christmas stuff, because all that stuff, that interview was taking place on Christmas Eve.
There's no reason for that.
The reason is it's a Silent Night, Deadly Night film, Justin.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
There's no real plot reason for him to actually, be there on Christmas Eve. But then he breaks out and goes on his Christmas killing spree, which does lead to the one legit well-shot scene in the movie where he steals the Santa costume.
I don't know who they got to shoot that scene.
No,
they did a good job.
Yeah, it's legit, well set up. It starts just on a wall, and you hear the Salvation Army, Santa just oh, and then the camera starts to start panning, and he's like he got killed, and then you see the donation thing where the change in there just kind of shaking and open, and the camera keeps panning to the phone booth, and you see the Santa costume pans up to Eric Freeman in the phone booth.
Yep.
It's so well done. It's actually legit good.
It was a cool shot, a cool scene.
Yeah.
And then we get to the rest of the movie,
which is him getting revenge on Mother Superior.
Yeah.
Who, for some reason in this movie, has a screwed up face.
Yeah, I think that was mainly to hide the fact that it was a different actress.
Yeah, because they had the original actress in the flashback scenes, and I think that's kind of why. They never explain it. They just say that they at one point say she had a stroke.
Yeah, which I guess gives you fucking leprosy on your face.
Apparently. And you get to the climax scene, which shows you that Ricky is a terrible killer. Because he can't seem to kill a nun who is in a wheelchair, elderly, and makes every cliched character mishap in the book.
Yeah.
And he still can't get her. She still gets away from him. I don't know how.
She still gets away. I mean, she falls down the stairs at one point, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's amazing.
But she gets away. It's just a really dumb sequence, but really entertaining.
Oh, good. I love a chase.
And that's the movie, really.
Yeah.
It's
incredible.
It's a really just wonderful disaster.
Oh, it is. The first half is legit bad because it's all just flashbacks. It sucks that the whole movie wasn't Ricky's story.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. It's because those last 40 minutes are gold.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
It kind of works if this is the only one of these movies you've ever seen, if you hadn't seen the first one. But the first one's worth watching.
It sucks that the first half is not as good as that last half, because that last half is incredible. Just amazing performance by Eric Freeman. Just, my God, he's great.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
He's an excellent actor. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more roles.
No, I don't know.
I know, it's a shame.
Shame. So we highly recommend this movie, mostly the last 40 minutes.
Yeah, if you're a fan of So Bad They're Good movies, this one is one to watch, especially around this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel as much like Christmas, but
it's still got a little bit of it there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with all the stuff from the previous film and the end scene, it's just a lot of fun.
Yes.
We both give it a big old thumbs up. We both give it the nod of approval.
Exactly. Yes.
The store manager from the first film.
Now, this wasn't the last Silent Night, Deadly Night movie.
Of course not.
There was 3 more sequels.
And a remake.
And we actually haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of them. We'd like to talk about them in the future at some point.
Those are movies that we hope to talk about in the future.
Exactly. I'm sure there's going to be something worthwhile in there.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of did this whole thing a little last minute with these two. Yeah. And these two were the most important two that we wanted to.
Most iconic 2 out of the franchise.
Yeah.
So, maybe Christmas time next year. Maybe, we'll see.
Maybe toss in a few other Christmas classics like we talked about.
Yeah.
We shall see. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, until then, we will see you guys later, and Merry Christmas.
This movie's so bogus. It really is.